Alexa, turn on the simulator.
Okay.
G'day everyone, welcome back to the MacLeod project. Today's video is just going to be a quick update video. Some minor changes happened over the last couple of months. Nothing too major, but we'll just go through what we've changed. I was deciding what to do with the end caps here. I was going to paint some artwork on them and put some patches and stuff, but I ended up just cutting them open so you could see the rear of the panel. I did that because when I stream on Twitch, I sort of have a camera mounted back here sometimes, and now it makes it a lot easier to see what's going on inside the cockpit. It also looks much cooler in my opinion because you can see everything that's green and backlit now. Because I did that, I ended up moving the fire extinguisher, so that used to be not attached to the cockpit, it used to be behind this leg here. I moved it to the back of the console there, so when you're sitting in the cockpit it's easier to get to the fire extinguisher if the worst ever happened. I've had one close call with a short circuit, but I caught it really early, and I do have a emergency stop button concealed right there. So if I whack that, it kills power to everything instantly. And I smelt burning plastic and hit that, and then I sourced that it was just a cable that I accidentally connected to 12 volts instead of 5 volts. That's the closest this thing's ever come to burning down, but I'm Australian, so we all respect fire, so that's why I've got that. One of the other things we updated is we're now using a Buddy Fox UFC. This is a commercially available one. Does the job really well. It's much more reliable than my homemade one. This one's 3D printed and it's just got prototype PCB in there. It was a little bit unreliable. My 5 button stopped working, and you'd be surprised how many times I have to push 5. So rather than doing a full redesign of this one, I ended up going the route of buying a Buddy Fox one. It wasn't without its hassles. Look, it seems like it's a really good bit of kit, but the only issue I've got with it is the software doesn't work to flash the master caution light. So this master caution light I ended up wiring up myself. So basically I cut it open, I put another LED in behind there that's much brighter, and then I ran a cable, which you can see at the back here. I ran this cable to a Arduino that's already in the main instrument panel to flash the master caution light. If I push the signal lamp light test button, you'll see it's much more brighter than it used to be, and it is much more reliable. The software that the Buddy Fox comes with, I just couldn't get that LED working, and I was not happy with how bright it was. It took little to no modification. All I did was cut a little bit of plastic out of the back of the master caution light to fit that SMD in there, but at least now it's reliable, and I don't have to worry about running more external software in the background. It's all tied in with the rest of the stuff on DCS BIOS. You can see here the Buddy Fox, it's got the separate dimming on the side here. It seems like it's really well made, it feels great, it's a quality bit of kit. The biggest problem I have with it is the price. It's just far too expensive for what it is. It's just a simple button box, and if it was 150 Australian dollars, I'd be singing its praises and recommending it to everyone, but it's 320 Australian dollars, which in my opinion is just far too much for what it is. I did consider going back to my custom made one and giving that one away or selling it, but look, it's a good bit of kit. I'm not knocking it, I'm not saying it's a bad bit of kit. I just think if it was half the price, I'd recommend it. The way it stands right now, $320 for that, I don't recommend it. Another thing I changed is pretty useless, but I did it anyway. You remember for all the D-Zeus connectors, I was using little 3D printed things that I'd made myself. These little 3D printed tops that just go on top of a normal bolt. So basically I ended up redoing all the mounting system throughout the entire cockpit. I was just using a 5mm bolt straight into the wood to hold them in. I ended up putting a whole bunch of furniture inserts in there, so they're now metal threads. And I'm using these Tech Creations D-Zeus replicas, so they're an aluminium flathead bolt with a little cap. And when you put them together, which I'll try to do one-handed, when you put them together, they end up looking like a D-Zeus bolt. A little bit more solid, they're aluminium, and they look basically identical to the real thing. I've actually got some real ones, so I'll share what the difference is. I'll just flash a photo up now. So I ended up going across the whole thing. The biggest drawback of these is the price. I think they go for about 50 cents each, which doesn't sound like much, but I can't remember how many you need, but it's over 150 of them, so it's not cheap. The reason I did that is because I found that I was removing panels a lot and tweaking them and filming videos and that sort of stuff. Obviously driving the bolt straight into the wood, it was losing its grip. A lot of the panels were shaking loose and becoming loose, so now I've got some good quality furniture threads across the whole thing, and it's a nice solid metal thread with these solid metal bolts. The only thing I did do is put a nylon washer on each of them, so it gives you that little bit of leeway so you can make sure that they're all perfectly straight and makes it look correct when they're on. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the other video, but we've now got some Philips Hue smart lighting. So there's a couple of Philips Hue smart bars here. There's one there, there's one there, and then I replaced the downlights in the room to Philips Hue ones, and now that's running the Philips Hue software that is taking colour from the projection surface, and it sort of backfills the cockpit. These lights here now are shining on that, and it mimics the colour of what's on the screen. It's a little bit subtle, but I noticed it sort of always seemed like it was dark in here and daytime outside, obviously the nature of projection surfaces, but now with these downlights, you can see that one's a little bit of a blue hue coming down into it to sort of backfill it, makes it feel a little bit more realistic in here. You'll see now if I just move over here like this and I bank the aircraft.
Warning, autopilot.
You'll see how the light is changing colour, and so is the light up here. A bit hard to capture with the projector blinding us, but you get the idea. I better go over here and flip the autopilot back on. You'll see in the previous video that I'll link right here where I did the modifications to the throttle to extend them. This one here is now really loose. I probably just need to design this with some tighter tolerances, so I'll 3D print a new one of those. It's funny because some of the real A-10 guys in the stream told me that that's about how much the real one wobbles anyway, so, but I will fix that up eventually, just need to redesign that. I'm also not sure if in the last update I showed you the parachute container, so I finished all the fabric on this. I just airbrushed that on, which came out really good, and then these ones here, I airbrushed that on, sewed that on myself, and then on this side I even just used some t-shirt sort of iron-on material to make my own little inspection label and sewed that on there. It came out pretty good, I think. Anyway, that sort of brings us to the end of this video. Thanks heaps for watching, thanks heaps for supporting the channel. Make sure you go down into the link below and follow me on Twitch. You can come and watch this live, and you can ask questions and I'll show you around with the handheld camera and that sort of stuff. Thanks heaps, and I'll see you on the next one.
Alright, technicals in the open. Let's go in with guns. Alright, let's go laser rockets. Let's go CCIP mode, laser rocket selected, lasers on, and rifle. Shack. Alright, so we're going to practice doing some rapid fire of Mavericks. What we have here is a group of 4 tanks. I'm going to fire 4 Mavericks in quick succession. First thing you're going to do is set each tank as its mark point. Set the TGP to point track mode, and then DMS right short to set it as a mark point. That's mark point A, that one's mark point B, C, and D. Now we go down to the AAP and we set it to mark point. Now when we set our HUD as soy, if we push China hat long, all our sensors will now scroll to those mark points, A, B, C and D. Now we just have to set up our Mavericks. Using the HUD as soy, you can scroll through the weapons using TMS left short until we select our Mavericks, bring up our Maverick page, and then we can slew all to mark point A. So now with our mark point set and our Mavericks ready to go, we can turn in. All we have to do is select our HUD as soy, China hat forward to slew all our sensors to mark point A. Once we get within range, our Maverick should track. Rifle, Huddersfield, next waypoint, slew the Maverick to it. Rifle, Huddersfield, next waypoint, slew the Maverick to it. Rifle, Huddersfield, next waypoint, and slew the Maverick to it. Rifle. Good shacks. Here we have our group of 4 tanks. This time we're going to use a cluster bomb. So let's select our cluster bomb. It's a CBU 105. It's already in CCRP mode. We just need to select our main target. We'll drop it on this tank right here. TMS up long sets that as our Spencer point of interest. Once you are in CCRP mode, you'll see a line appear. You just need to put that line over the target and wait for a manual release cue. Manual release has popped up on our HUD and pickle. Good shack. Alright, some more weapons practice. We've got a group of 3 Hiluxes here that we're going to use some unguided rockets on. First thing we're going to do is set up our rockets. On our Dismiss page, we're going to go to Profiles. We're going to go to the rocket, View Profile. We're going to change it to Ripple Pairs, and we're going to set it to 10. Now every time I pull the trigger, it will fire 10 rockets at once. CCIP mode, rockets selected. Once we're in about 5 miles, we'll put the rocket pipper on the target. Good hits. Looks like a couple of them survived. Select our Mavericks. And in hot. Slew the Maverick to the tank. Rifle. The second tank. Rifle. Shack 1. Shack 2. Today we're going to be using some GPS guided bombs. They're a GBU-38. You just find the tank with your targeting pod and you push TMS right to create a mark point. It's mark point Alpha, this one's mark point Bravo, this one's mark point Charlie, and this one's mark point Delta. TMS up and down to cycle through all the waypoints. Now we just have to select our bombs, GBU-38s, select all of them. They're already in CCRP mode. Now when you look at the HUD, you'll see the target's the little box with the line. All we have to do is put the CCRP line over the top of that target, something like this, and we wait till we get the manual release cue. There's our release cue, and pickle, next mark point, pickle, pickle, pickle. 4 bombs away. Good shacks. Alright, so we found this group of trucks here that is in a nice column that is perfect for a gun run. What I'm going to do is turn off the pack system. So the A-10 has a a stabilisation system, dual stage trigger. If you pull the trigger in a small amount, it activates the stabilisation, and when you pull the trigger, it'll keep the gun in one spot for accuracy. We don't want that, so we'll turn off gun pack, and we'll put it down to gun arm. Now it'll just spray the length of this column. Come in a little bit shallower than usual, and we'll just walk the gun up the column.
Pull up, pull up.
Looks like there's one that didn't get hit, so we will put the gun pack back on.
Pull up, pull up.
Alright, this time we've got a convoy of trucks on the road we're going to run in with our Mark 82 airs. We bought 4 3-packs of Mark 82 airs. It's a dumb bomb, so it's unguided, and it's got a parachute at the back of it, so we can drop it from a really low altitude. Just jump into our profile in the Dismas here, go down to our bomb, view the profile, we'll change it to ripple pairs, and we'll make it quantity 4. And now every time I pull the trigger, it will drop 4 bombs. And when you select CCIP, you'll see that line. When that line goes solid, you'll see the pipper at the bottom of the HUD. Now you'll see the line is solid, you'll see the pipper at the bottom of that line. That's where the bomber would drop if I pulled the pickle button right now. We're going to wait till that pipper is over the target, we'll come in nice and low, and we'll pickle a whole bunch of bombs at them. Pickle, pickle, pickle. Good hits. Just trying to film some YouTube shorts here, people, and it just keeps crashing. God damn you, DCS.
This is the worst!